And Preeti, Vishwapati, thank you so much for joining, Krishna. So we have the pattern of the class is that we have 3 verses to complete. And those are somewhat special verses focused on one thing, and we will discuss that one thing. Then we have the Ishopanishad, the flow of Ishopanishad, just to give a quick recap for the exam. Then if we have time, then we can read from Chaitanya Charitamrita a little bit about the topic that we have today. So that's the reason for my audacious plan, is that the purports are really small for the last 3. So that's why I'm taking a gamble here. We have a regulation of not gambling, but these sides of gamble are okay. We gamble much more on what time we have. All right, we'll get started with our usual Mangalacharan prayers, and then Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhayascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Matsamo nasti papatma naparadhi cha kaschana parihare pilajjame kim bhruve purushottama bhumau skalitapadanam bhumireva avalambanam tvai jata paradhanam tvameva sharanam prabhu Adadanastrunam dantar idam yache punapuna Srimad Rupa Padam Bhojau Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Rajoham Syam Bhave Bhave. Hare Krishna. So today we'll do verses 9, 10, and 11. For those who just joined today for the first time, we have systematic verses on different scriptures in ISKCON, and which is called Bhakti Shastri, and we are doing 2 books in this semester. Text 9. So, kindly repeat after me. Vaikuntajjanito varamadhupuri tatrapi rasotsava. Vrindaranyamudarapaniramanat tatrapi govardhana. Radha kundamihapi gokulapate premamrita plavana. Kuryadasya virajato giritate sevam vivekina kaha. Mansi Mataji, translation, please. And then Rupali Mataji can go. Hare Krishna.
The holy place known as Mathura is spiritually superior to Vaikuntha, the transcendental world, because the Lord appeared there. Superior to Mathurapuri is the transcendental forest of Vrindavan because of Krishna's Rasa Leela pastimes. And superior to the forest of Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, for it was raised by the divine hand of Sri Krishna and was the site of his various loving pastimes. And above all, the super excellent Sri Radhakund stands supreme, for it is overflooded with the ambrosial nectarian prema of the Lord of Gokul, Sri Krishna. Where then is that intelligent person who is unwilling to serve this divine Radhakund, which is situated at the foot of Govardhan Hill?
Thank you. First paragraph of the purport. Next person, please.
Purport: the spiritual world is 3/4 of the total creation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and it is the most exalted region. The spiritual world is naturally superior to the material world. However, Mathura and the adjoining areas, although appearing in the material world, are considered superior to the spiritual world because the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself appeared at Mathura. The interior forests of Vrindavan are considered superior to Mathura because of the presence of the 12 forests, Dvadashavana, such as Talavan, Madhuvan, and Bahulavan, which are famous for the various pastimes of the Lord. But superior to these forests is the divine Govardhan Hill, because Krishna lifted it like an umbrella, raising it with his beautiful lotus-like hand to protect his associates, the denizens of Vraja, from the torrential rains sent by angry Indra, king of the demigods. It is also at Govardhan Hill that Krishna tended the cows with his cowherd friends, and there also he had his rendezvous with his most beloved Sri Radha and engaged in loving pastimes with her. Radha Kunda at the foot of Govardhan is superior to all because it is there that love of Krishna overflows. Advanced devotees prefer to reside at Radha Kunda because this place is the site of many memories of the eternal loving affairs between Krishna and Radharani. Rati Vilas.
Thank you. So here, this particular verse is giving the different gradations of spiritual world, and they are also graded in Vrindavan area as well, wherein you can see that how the Vaikuntha planets are the much beyond the material world, but even within Vaikuntha planets, there is also Mathura region. So in Vaikuntha or in the spiritual world, in Golok Vrindavan, there are three regions, which is Mathura, Vrindavan, and Dwaraka as well. So this is mentioned here about how Vrindavan is superior to Mathura because the Lord performed his pastimes, and Govardhan is superior to Vrindavan. And then, the Radha Kund lake, it's something that the theme of next three verses is Radha Kund. So, Shubham, if you can do the next paragraph, the purport.
In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, it is stated that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first visited the area of Rajabhumi, he could not at first find the location of Radha Kund. This means that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually searching for the exact location of Radha Kund. Finally, he found the holy location of Radha Kund, the holy spot, and there was a small pond there. He took his bath in that small pond and told his devotees that the actual Radha Kund was situated there. Later, the pond was excavated by Lord Chaitanya's devotees, headed first by the 6 Goswamis, such as Rupa and Raghunath Das. Presently, there is a large lake known as Radha Kund there. Srila Rupa Goswami has given much stress to Radha Kund because of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire to find it. Who then would give up Radha Kund and try to reside elsewhere? No person with transcendental intelligence would do so. The importance of Radha Kund, however, cannot be realized by other Vaishnava Sampradayas, nor can persons uninterested in the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understand the spiritual importance and divine nature of Radha Kund. Thus, Radha Kund is mainly worshipped by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the followers of Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Thank you. So we get a unique glimpse that Radha Kund is not something, if you ask the other Sampradayas, they'll say, what Radha Kund? But Gaudiya Vaishnava followers, we place the greatest of the emphasis, it's the holiest of the holy places, and the place that one all aspires for, and that is Radha Kund. And why is it so? We can get more details as we read as well. So with that, we'll go to text number 10, but before that, if you have any questions or comments. Yes, Shubham.
So, Prabhu, the gradations of these spiritual worlds, what are they based on? Like, what are the gradations? Basically, is it realization of Krishna or?
So, please understand, when we talk, one thing is, if Vaikuntha is less superior to, for example, Mathura, which is less superior to, for example, Vrindavan forest and Govardhan, Radha Kund, so on, you might think that in terms of the materialistic notion of, like, for example, gold medals in Olympics. Somebody who's got third will get bronze, and, so they're less inferior. But spiritual world is not like that. It is perfect, more perfect, and most perfect. That is the gradation is used. And the reason why it is used is to discover the proximity to Krishna and proximity to Krishna's heart. In Vaikuntha, Krishna is worshipped in a mood of awe and reverence. But in all the way to Radha Kund, there Krishna is, there is, even if you tell them that, he is God, they'll say you're lying. No, he's not. So because Yogamaya covers it. So to that extent, the proximity is mentioned. In that, friends, the superiority comes. Text 10. So the previous verse talks of places, this verse talks of people, or rather different kinds of devotees. Hare Krishna Kamo. Kindly repeat after me. Karmibhya parito hare priyataya vyaktim yayurjnanina tebhyo jnana vimukta bhakti parama premaika nishtastataha. Tebhyasta pashupala pankajadrishas tabhyopi saradhika preshta tadvadiyam tadiya sarasi tam nashrayet kakritihi. Shubham, translation, please.
In the Shastra, it is said that all type of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life, is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, Gyanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all. Deepo. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent on Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her Kunda lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis, who then will not reside at Radhakund and in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings, a prakrita bhava. Render.
Yeah,
Rending loving service to the divine couple Shri Shri Radha Govinda, who perform their Ashtakalya Leela, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radha Kund are the most fortunate people in the universe.
Thank you. So, we hear of a lot of terms in this verse. For example, karmi, there is jnani, there is vimukta jnani, there is bhakta, there is premi bhakta, so on and so forth. So we'll discuss a little bit more so that the situation will be a little clearer. So Satwat, would you mind reading the first paragraph of the purport, please? And then Akhil will do the next.
Hare Krishna. Purport. At the present moment, almost everyone is engaged in some kind of fruitive activity. Those who are desirous of gaining material profits by working are called karmis or fruitive workers. All living entities within this material world have come under the spell of Maya. This is described in the Vishnu Purana, 6.7.61.
Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta
Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta
Kshetrajñakhya tata para
Kshetragyakya Tatha Para
Avidya Karma Samjnanya
Avidya Karma Sangyanya
Tritiya Shaktirishyate.
Tritiya Shaktirishyate. Sages have divided the energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead into three categories, namely the spiritual energy, marginal energy, and material energy. The material energy is considered to be the third class energy, Tritiya Shakti. Those living beings within the jurisdiction of the material energy sometimes engage themselves like dogs and hogs in working very hard simply for sense gratification. However, in this life or after executing pious activities in the next life, some karmis become strongly attracted to performing various kinds of sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas. Thus, on the strength of their pious merit, they are elevated to heavenly planets. Actually, those who perform sacrifices strictly according to Vedic injunctions are elevated to the moon and planets above the moon. As mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 9.21, Kshine punyam martilokam vishanti. After exhausting the results of their so-called pious activities, they again return to the earth, which is called Martiloka, the place of death. Although such persons may be elevated to the heavenly planets by their pious activities, and although they may enjoy life there for many thousands of years, they nonetheless must return to this planet when the results of their pious activities are exhausted.
Thank you. So, what is the definition of karmi then, according to Srila Prabhupada? Because the next paragraph starts with, this is the position of karmi, which means Srila Prabhupada explained what is a karmi. Who works for material profit? So basically in this material world, I want to be happy, and my happiness is only decided by what my senses want, what my eyes want, what my ears want, what my tongue wants. And to get that, then I have to work really hard. And once I get it, I will enjoy it. And that is the position in this material world. It doesn't matter how little you have or how big you have. But the problem is that there is a hard struggle for material existence. There is disappointments, there is uncertainties, there is fear. And then people will think, and somehow they get to know something about Vedas. Vedas are full of sacrifices and description of heavenly planets. This is amazing heavenly planets, that this is like this. I mean, you should have some experience. For example, coming from India. When people were in India, they would say, "Oh, US is such a wonderful place. It's heaven. It's a land of milk and honey, and everything is just perfect. You should go." You hear of that, yes or yes? First you hear. Otherwise, you'll just come like that. "Oh, US, I don't know what it is. Let me go try it out." No, you'll hear about it, and then then you'll say, "Okay, I'll need to apply to a US university or H1B, whatever," and then you'll come here. So similarly, then if you don't apply for green card, assuming a hypothetical situation, then you have a H1B period, and after that you have to. Same is the exact case with heavenly planets. You think of heavenly planets, you see, oh my God, Earth is so much stuff. There is coronavirus, and we have global warming, and the inflation is going. This is not a good place. I hear, oh, heavenly planets, amazing. Heavenly planets are indeed amazing. It's not like US-India comparison, because US-India are the earthly planet itself. So pretty much it will be the same conditions here and there. If there is a economic impact on one country, it will happen on the other countries as well. Global economy and so on and so forth. But material, heavenly planets are really different. If you want to go and start a deodorant industry in heavenly planets, it will be an utter flop. Because nobody's bodies will stink. Nobody has. If you want to open a hospital or a pharmaceutical industry, good luck with that. Because nobody will fall sick. If you want to sell any old age product that people use, pick any. Walking stick. Good luck with that. Nobody needs a walking stick because nobody will get old there. And everybody has their own plane, and what you dream of being a billionaire in this world and struggling so hard to get your own plane or a yacht, it's all done in this heavenly planet. You already have your own plane, beautiful gardens, no pollution. The heavenly sensual enjoyment, even up to the enjoyment with the opposite gender is amazing. It's like there is not much problems at all. Good luck with diaper industry, you don't need them. Seems nice place to go. And people work hard, and that is, they go to the spiritual world, to the heavenly planets. But then it's like a H1B visa, when your pious credits exhaust, you come back again here. Then, I came back here, and then let me try again. And then the problem is that you are a jiva or you are an atma, and you will not be happy either in the heavenly planets or in this world. The goal of the purpose is to get out of this material existence. And karmi mentality means that I'll work hard and I'll do my best to enjoy this world. But please note for a fact that that sort of mentality, you can get a little bit of enjoyment then, but there will be so much of anxiety and hard work. So far, so good? All right. Mr. Sharma, please do the second paragraph.
This is the position of all karmis, including those who act piously and those who act impiously. On this planet, we find many businessmen, politicians, and others who are simply interested in material happiness. They attempt to earn money by all means, not considering whether such means are pious or impious. Such people are called karmis, or gross materialists. Among the karmis are some vikarmis, people who act without the guidance of Vedic knowledge. Those who act on the basis of Vedic knowledge perform sacrifices for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu and to receive benedictions from him. In this way, they are elevated to higher planetary systems. Such karmis are superior to the vikarmis, for they are faithful to the directions of the Vedas and are certainly dear to Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita 4.11, Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajami aham. In whatever way one surrenders unto me, I reward him accordingly. Krishna is so kind that he fulfills the desires of the karmis and jnanis, not to speak of the bhaktas. Although the karmis are sometimes elevated to higher planetary systems, as long as they remain attached to fruitive activities, they must accept new material bodies after death. If one acts piously, he can attain a new body among the demigods in higher planetary systems, or he may attain some other position in which he can enjoy a higher standard of material happiness. On the other hand, those who are engaged in impious activities are degraded and take birth as animals, trees and plants. Thus, those fruitive actors who do not care for the Vedic directions, vikarmis, are not appreciated by learned saintly persons. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.4,
Nunam pramatta kurute vikarma yadindraya pritaya apranoti na sadhu manye yata atmanoyam asannapi kleshada asadeha. Ramesh, you can just continue from there. I'll tell you when to stop.
Materialists who work hard like dogs and hogs simply for sense gratification are actually mad. They simply perform all kinds of abnormal activities simply for sense gratification. Materialistic activities are not all worthy of an intelligent man, for as a result of such activities, one gets material body which is full of misery. The purpose of human life is to get out of threefold of misery condition, which are concomitant with material existence. Unfortunately, fruitive workers are mad to earn money and acquire temporary material comforts by all means. Therefore, they risk being degraded to lower species of life.
Thank you. So here, people work really hard, and assume that there is a system where you go to the office. You work really hard. They will say that it's a random number, means one number is generated, you can keep your pay, otherwise you will lose your pay. And you have to keep working again. Will you work in that office? And people, if you keep working in that office, people will say you are really mad. Because The employer is saying, I'm going to pay you, but certain conditions will change, and very randomly, with no intimation for you, and you'll lose. It's exactly the situation of this material world. Day and night one works hard for money, but please understand, you never know when the money will be taken away, either in the form of death, or in the form of taxes, in the form of inflation, or business. Something will happen, and that's what Bhagavatam asserts to it. And then, at the end of death, it's guaranteed, 100% sure, that even if you very, very diligently, carefully keep the money and not invest it, you will be separated from your money, and you worked so hard for your life. So, at least in the human form of life, you will at least need to think, is it worth it? Oh, what is this all about? Or is there something higher in life to more than this? And Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita give an emphatic yes. That this Atma that we have is so glorious, capable of such intense heights of ecstasy by serving Krishna, but by blind pursuit of money with no other motive in life is actually going to degrade the soul. And in the pursuit of money, you have to make deals, you have to appease, you have to cajole, you have to beg, you have to borrow, sometimes steal, cheat, who knows? And at the end of life, it's like, what happened here? So that's why Bhagavad Gita says that maintain your life. That doesn't mean you shouldn't earn money. That doesn't mean that, okay, I give up everything and go to... No. Maintain your body, but to the extent it needs to be maintained. Earn the money to the extent it needs to be maintained. If you are a grihastha, you need to earn money and save, of course, for family members, for emergencies. So that's true. But the whole goal of life, when it becomes money, and somehow in Kali Yuga, unfortunately, in the modern times, money is taken as a success indicator. It's the only criteria. The criteria. And when you see the ultra-rich people being courted by government officials and giving VIP treatment, you'll say, this is life, but that is not life. Is that okay? And then the problem is, if you earn money illegally, by cheating, by other means, by bribing, or so on and so forth, then you are getting entangled in that complexities of material existence. It's not needed, it's not worth it. Because at the end of life, really, where is the money and who keeps it? Only those who are your dependents, they'll be very happy. Right? There is the Bhaja Govindam, anybody knows? In that there is a statement, Artham anartham bhavaya nityam nasti tatah sukha klesha satyam putradapi dhana bhajam vitihi sarvatra isha vihita ritihi. The meaning is that Artham anartham bhavaya nityam, that the artham or the wealth, it is anartham for eternal life, bhavaya nityam. Na asti means there is not. Sukha klesha is not even a drop of happiness in money. Nasti tatah sukha klesha satyam putradapi dhana bhajam viti. A rich man is afraid that my own son will kill me and take my money away. And everywhere this is the way of money. Not kill, but at least, and it's a fact. In fact, it has been, I have read in newspapers, a very rich man who was giving allowance to his son, free allowance, and the son was misusing it. And father, realizing that his son is misusing the money I'm giving him, he said, I'm going to cut off your allowance, and the son killed him in a fit of rage, whatever. So many stories abound like that. Hare Krishna, welcome. Good. So, having said that, one should earn money, don't get me wrong, but it shouldn't be the goal of life. Our spiritual advancement should be the goal of life, not the money. The last point, money, destiny-wise, how much money you are supposed to earn in that life, you will get it. No doubt about it. Think about it. Bill Gates dropped out of Harvard, 1977. In 78, 79, he started Microsoft. When he dropped out of Harvard, how many people said, you will be the greatest, you are the greatest guy, success? No, people would have said, seriously, dude, something is wrong with you. But right place at the right time, and now look where he is. So the negative portion of it, the distressful portion of it, nobody asks, yet one gets. Yes or yes? I mean, nobody goes out in the morning to say, God, give me a fatal accident today. Anybody thinks? Yeah, God, keep me safe. Okay, keeps everything safe. But fatal accidents do happen. So if even without wanting, the negative things will come, Bhagavatam asserts the positive will come for sure. That is divine justice that Krishna has made sure that all the jivas get. So while these ups and downs are going up, the intelligent man doesn't worry too much about the ups and downs, knowing that inevitably they will come. But rather, let me try for my spiritual advancement, which nobody is putting a bar on. Destiny doesn't cover spiritual advancement. Destiny doesn't cover that, you can advance only X% in your life. That's only, no. In this very life, I can actually perfect. That potential I have in spirituality, but when you struggle for materiality, then that is really limited according to your destiny. It's a fact. I mean, think about it. You might say, I don't believe you. Here is a case. Did you ever feel like flying? Just one day, just fly into the sky. Everybody must have thought, just look at. But I'm not a bird. Birds have that facility inbuilt. They don't need a passport or a plane ticket or nothing. They just can fly. Well, we cannot. By destiny, we have different bodies. So destiny is there. The whole purpose of human life is to exert oneself for our spiritual advancement, to not suffer in this world so much again, because we are not meant to suffer like this. Birth after birth after birth, it's not going to change much. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there, but any other points? All right. Vikarmis are, what's the definition of vikarmi from what we read? I'll give you multiple choices. A vikarmi is the one who pays property taxes every year without fail. A vikarmi is, number 2 is that he only drinks alcohol once a week. Number 3 is that he doesn't follow the Vedic injunctions, C. And D is that he makes sure that he votes for the wrong person every time. Yes? C. Thank you. It's a quiz, I made it a little easier. Sorry, Mata? It shouldn't be that easy, no? But I promise you there will be some questions that easy as well. There will be only one choice. If you have read the book, then you will know that it's the only one choice. Because those who actually seriously read will be very disappointed with that question. They'll say, oh my God. Anyways. Let me see some other important points, and then we are almost, we do have time. So the summary of the purport is that Srila Prabhupada says that karma, ups and downs, then doing vikarma and getting frustrated with this, a person tries to give up everything and tries to acquire jnana, and then he becomes a jnani. So means trying to acquire spiritual knowledge, trying to say that, what is matter, what is spirit, am I a spirit, how to discover my spiritual nature. And, you read Vedas, you read Upanishads, and more importantly, and you come to the realization that I am Brahman or Atma, or I am purely spirit. And that is what is called a jnani. Jnani, who by great fortune takes to devotional service, is called a Vimukta Jnani. No, a Vimukta Jnani is the one who tries to understand Krishna. And it is mentioned, Prabhupada writes, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samaatma Sudurlabha. So a Jnani will come to the stage of surrendering to Krishna, then he will become a bhakta. And from the bhakta who are in the sadhana stage, they develop prema or spontaneous love for Krishna. They are even superior. And superior to those are the gopas, and superior to them are the gopis of Vrindavan, and amongst them the topmost is Radharani, whose kunda is again very dear to Krishna. So even in this verse also, Srila Rupa Goswami, the theme of last 3 verses is Radha Kunda. And you can see the third one also will come to the same point. So if you can, you should, when you visit to Vrindavan, you can definitely go and bathe in Radha Kund at least once. That will be, and only Gaudiya Vaishnavas revere Radha Kund like that as well. Questions? And take your time to read. It's really nice purports. Yes. Shubham Dash.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So, like in this verse also, right? Bahunam Janmanam Ante. That I think Prabhupada also mentioned that, like you mentioned that it's basically a funnel. Like bottom is karma kandis and then jnanis, and so when you said we should aim to perfect our lives in this life itself and become like a pure devotee of the Lord, do we bypass all of this funnel directly, or do we have to go through the same progression?
Thank you. And since for those who have not done Bhagavad Gita, I'll explain the yoga ladder, the funnel that you mentioned. It's a good thing you brought up. So basically 99% of the world just is, let me enjoy, or just live life. I live only once, get the maximum enjoyment. Don't worry so much about how I am earning money, just earn money. Most of the world is like that. And above that actually is called, those who are called karmis, or above karmis are those who are on the Vedic path. They take to Vedas, allured by Vedas. You know, I've been working in this deadbeat software job. Okay, I hear something about, having now the next great thing happening in next great country. Let me go. So that is those who are doing. Then they are called karma yogis, but sakam karma yogis, which means karma yoga means I will work only if I have something coming back for me. Otherwise, I'm not going to work. That is sakam karma yoga. And then from there is called nishkam karma yoga, where a person works, but only works without attachment to result. And then from there comes Jnana Yoga. So from Karma Yoga, where we come to our pure realization that I am Atma, and that is Jnana Yoga. And Jnana Yoga is good through the realization of the Lord as Brahman. Lord can be realized as Brahman, all light, all pervading beauty, truth, infinite, completely unbounded, and so on and so forth. And then above that is Dhyana Yoga, where you do the meditation, breath control. Then you will see the Lord as Paramatma. You will see the Lord not only as Brahman, but within everyone, and everyone within the Lord. So it's a two-way process. And then beyond that is Bhakti Yoga, where you can see that you see the Lord as the beautiful, deity, murti, and you want to serve him. So that is Bhakti Yoga. And amongst Bhakti Yoga, there is sadhana. And is that clear? Okay, thank you for bringing that. Bhumika Mataji, Hare Krishna, I see your hand is raised.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, I have a question regarding taking a bath in Radhakund. I understood that, even the Rupa Goswami said in this book to take a bath, but I understood that you should not dip your inside Radhakund, so I'm not sure. Can you clarify?
Sorry, you are breaking up a little bit, so the last part of the question I could not understand.
So Prabhuji, so this Rupa Goswami said, right, in this last chapter to take a bath in Radha as many times as possible.
Correct.
But what I understood when I went to Vrindavan, that you should not even go inside or even dip your feet inside the Radha Kund.
So the way you approach Radha Kund is, obviously it's hard to not take. So here Rupa Goswami has given us the order that we can go and bathe in Radha Kund. So that is done. The only finer detail there is that you should not put your foot in Radha Kund first. You should approach the Radha Kund. You should take some water, put it on your head, and then take permission from Radha Kund and then enter it and bathe it. I did hear few of the reports like what you mentioned where you should not, but Prabhupada allowed his disciples to kind of take bath in Radha Kund following the Guru Parampara. So I can't say more than that. Personally, yes, I have taken bath in Radha Kund for quite a few times. Not quite a few, 2 times.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
And we were also thinking whether to go in the Radha Kund or not. So we called our Guru Maharaj and we took his permission first. We thought without his permission we cannot do anything.
Nice.
So when he gave us the permission, like you described, first took the water in our hands and took the permission of the Radha Kund, took permission from Guru Maharaj, and then entered the Radha Kund.
And then 3 times in Radha Kund, 3 times Shama Kund, then back in. Actually, it's Shama Kund first, Radha Kund, then Shama Kund. That order is, Vaishish Prabhu told me, so. Cool, thank you.
Yeah, can you please repeat, Prabhu? I didn't understand.
So, repeat what Mansi Mataji told, or just repeat what I told?
So just to clarify, you said first take a bath in Shamakund, then
Correct.
Radhakund, again go back to Shamakund.
Then Shama Kund, that's correct, Mata.
So you took 3 times whenever you go?
Yeah.
Dip in a kund, okay.
Yeah. I mean, like just a dip. It's not like
Is there a reason why you do that?
that. I will get back to you. That's what it's told. I was told, but I have to get an answer to you back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions before we do the last? All right. Yes, Mataji, your good name? Lakshmi, Hare Krishna, Lakshmi. Yes, if it is a question that I can answer in few minutes, why not? Please ask. And can you please sit on an asana, please? Every guest who comes to this temple must sit on an asana. At least that's our request, not that they must. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so thanks Prabhuji for telling all the yoga ladder one, from Karma Kandi to Sakama, Nishkama, Jnani, Dhyana and Bhakti Yoga. So in Jnani you mentioned about the Vimukta Jnanis, right? They will go to Krishna. So what are the other different categories?
So in Jnani, there are 2 or 3 types. One is that they are happy, they are called Brahmavadis, which means they are realizing Brahman and they are set in that realm of peace, which means they haven't realized Krishna yet and his personal beautiful lotus face or the features, but they are not bothered by material miseries, Brahmavadis. And part of that, if you are misguided, can become a Mayavadi, which means you come to realize Brahman, but because you have no idea of greatness of God, then you think by default I am God. But Vimukta Jnanis are ones who take shelter of Krishna or surrender to Krishna. So, and that usually does not happen on your own accord. Usually there requires to be a divine intervention of a pure devotee of Krishna or a confidential associate of Krishna. Then it is possible. All right, thank you. All right. Okay, the last one. Krishnasyochai pranayavasiti preyasibhyopi radha kundam chasya munibhir abitastadgreva vyadhayi. Yat preshtairapyalam asubulabham kim punarbhakti bhajam. Tat premedam sakridapi sarah snaturaviskaroti. Okay, let's do that again. Krishnasyochai pranayavasiti preyasibhyopi radha. Kundam chasya munibhiravitas tadagreva vyadayi. Yat preshtairapyalam asulabham kim punarbhakti bhajam. Tat premedam sakridapi sarah snaturaviskaroti. All right. So we go back to Mansi Mataji. Please do the translation.
Translation. Of the many objects of favored delight and of all the lovable damsels of Rajabhumi, Srimati Radharani is certainly Srimati Radharani is certainly the most treasured object of Krishna's love, and in every respect, her divine kund is described by great sages as similarly dear to him. Undoubtedly, Radha Kund is very rarely attained even by the great devotees. Therefore, it is even more difficult for ordinary devotees to attain. If one simply bathes once within those holy waters, one's pure love of Krishna is fully aroused.
So, usually, first time when I read it, I asked my teacher, why my love is not fully aroused yet. Because the first time I took in Faith in Radhakund was in 2004. The answer to that question is the scripture is not wrong. The prema will be fully aroused, but it doesn't say now, immediately. Because we take bath, but then there is so much of internal cleansing that needs to happen as well. And the internal cleansing cannot be substituted by Radha Kund Baith. Think about it. Oh, I don't need to do all the sadhana. It's, getting up morning, chanting rounds, waking up for Mangalarti, fasting on Janmashtami. Shortcut, go to Radha Kund, take one. The internal purification has to be done. And one distant day we will get it as well. Because prema, it is for those who are going to take Bhakti Shastri in the 4th semester, when we are going to read about Nectar of Devotion, we will learn about how it's not that easy to get prema or love of Krishna. So there is the reconciliation for that aspect. And for those, I forgot to mention, anybody online wants to read first few lines of the purport? First paragraph, rather. You have to be a little quiet, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I can read, Prabhu.
Yes, please.
Why is Radha Kunda so exalted? The lake is so exalted because it belongs to Srimati Radharani, who is the most beloved object of Sri Krishna. Among all the gopis, she is the most beloved. Similarly, her lake, Sri Radha Kunda, is also described by great sages as a lake that is as dear to Krishna as Radha herself. Indeed, Krishna's love for Radha Kunda and for Srimati Radharani is the same in all respects. Radha Kunda is very rarely attained, even by great personalities fully engaged in devotional service, not to speak of ordinary devotees who are engaged only in the practice of Vaidhi Bhakti.
Thank you. In the second paragraph, anybody?
I can continue, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
It is stated that a devotee will at once develop pure love of Krishna in the wake of the gopis if he once takes a bath in Radha Kund. Srila Rupa Goswami recommends that even if one cannot live permanently on the banks of Radha Kunda, he should at least take a bath in the lake as many times as possible. This is a most important item in the execution of devotional service. Srila Bhakti Vinoda Thakura writes in this connection that Sri Radha Kunda is the most select place for those interested in advancing their devotional service in the wake of the lady friends, sakhis, and confidential serving maids, manjaris, of Srimati Radharani. Living entities who are eager to return home to the transcendental kingdom of God, Goloka Vrindavana, by means of attaining their spiritual bodies, Siddha Deha, should live at Radha Kunda, take shelter of the confidential serving maids of Sri Radha, and under their direction engage constantly in her service. This is the most exalted method for those engaged in devotional service under the protection of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this connection, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakura writes that even great sages and great devotees like Narada and Sanaka do not get an opportunity to come to Radha Kunda to take their baths. What then to speak of ordinary devotees? If by great fortune one gets an opportunity to come to Radha Kunda and bathe even once, he can develop his transcendental love for Krishna exactly as the gopis did. It is also recommended that one should live on the banks of Radha Kunda and should be absorbed in the loving service of the Lord. One should bathe there regularly and give up all material conceptions, taking shelter of Sri Radha and her assistant gopis. If one is thus constantly engaged during his lifetime, after giving up the body, he will return back to Godhead to serve Sri Radha in the same way as he contemplated during his life on the banks of Radha Kunda. The conclusion is that to live on the banks of Radha Kunda and to bathe there daily constitute the highest perfection of devotional service. It is a difficult position to attain, even for great sages and devotees like Narada. Thus, there is no limit to the glory of Sri Radha Kunda. By serving Radha Kunda, one can get an opportunity to become an assistant of Srimati Radharani under the eternal guidance of the gopis. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. It's a very esoteric, it's very advanced. We will not discuss so much on this front, but nevertheless, just gives a taste of what awaits us if we take to this process of bhakti and be faithful to our spiritual masters and push through it. Come heaven or high water, or come lottery, stock market, whatever. I'll just keep continuing to serve Krishna, and that should be the goal of life. And nothing will budge me from that aspiration. Things will change, my body will change, world will change, but my aspiration will not change. And that's our prayer to Sri Krishna as we complete the nectar of instruction. That will be our humble prayer to Sri Nandanandana, that and Srimati Radharani, that may our desire to serve you never wane and never be tempted. May I never be tempted to think that there is something better, there is something higher, there is something more valuable to be had in this entire material world, right? So with that, I thank you for your patient attendance. I know few of the devotees are very regular in coming to the class, and I'm so grateful, so deeply acknowledge the austerities that you have taken. Afternoons is not the best time. I was contemplating today as I was driving to give the class. I don't have the option to sleep during the class. But then, it's austere, and the reason I have it now is because devotees want to stay for the Sunday feast lecture. But if that was not the consideration, we can have it like 7 a.m. in the morning, and then be done with it 7 to 9. And if anybody wants to come, but then if your house is close by to the temple, it's much easier. You can come back for the Sunday feast. I might even think about it, but we will see. Yes, Jagriti had raised her hand, and after that Mansi Mataji. Jagriti, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandvat Pranams. Thank you for your class. I know you mentioned you did not want to go into the details of this last verse, but I had just a quick question about, if you permit.
Yes, please.
It said that in the conclusion, just living at the banks of Radhakund and bathing there thrice is the highest devotional service. But I'm a bit confused because it seems like doing that is for our own advancement in spiritual life. How is that really serving Radha and Krishna? How is that serving the Radhakund? It seems like we are doing that for our own advancement and attaining. So I'm just a little bit confused about that.
So it's not like I like to bathe in Radhakund, or Radhakund is the, if you take it just from a pure material perspective. Let's take the example. Going to Hawaii, not Maui where we had wildfires, but going to Hawaii and having nice perfect weather and taking a bath in Radhakund, which is better from, if you ask a person who has no knowledge, even in fact, Sampradaya wise, just not the Gaudiya Vaishnava, Sampradaya, they will say, forget it, go to Hawaii, it's fun. Why are you going to Radhakund? The reason we go to Radhakund is because this is the area that I can access my service to Radharani, and that is the eagerness, and I'm going it for their benefit. Of course, I want to be their eternal servant, but this is the chabi or the key that I can use it to open to get to their service. So if you take it from that perspective, Jagriti, then we are not doing it for us, but for them.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Yes, Mansi.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So in the same text, Prabhuji, very quick question.
Please.
So it says the Radhakund is rarely attained even by the great devotees. So attained means just taking a bath in it, or does it have a deeper meaning? So
when we read, we said the reason why we take bath in Radhakund is to attain the divine prema. So even great devotees like Brahma and others, if you can see their prayers, they want to be like a creeper in Vrindavan. So let's look up the verse, Bhagavatam verse. If you can project 10th canto, 14th chapter, please. I don't remember the verse number. I will. 10th canto, 14th chapter, Mata. Control F, Mata. Control F. Creeper. And the next one, please. Next is, there is only one? A bush? Then we can try bush. Only one? Maybe dust, please. Next. Just one? Yes, 34. Please. Go perfect. So kindly repeat after me. Tadbhuri bhagyamiha janma kimapyatavyam yad gokulepi katamangri rajobhishekam Yajjivitam tu nikhilam bhagavan mukundas Tvadyapi yat padaraja shruti mrugyameva. Translation, please. My greatest possible good fortune would be to take any birth, whatever, in this forest of Gokul, and have my head bathed by the dust falling from the lotus feet of any of its residents. Their entire life and soul is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda, the dust of whose lotus feet is being searched, still being searched for in the Vedic mantras. So, is that helpful? This is Brahma praying. It is the topmost personality of this universe. Even they rarely attain. So this actually should give us hope, and at the same time, lot of hope, more hope. The reason is, we are shooting for something which is even rare for even the demigods to attain. So we will push through this path. It might seem hopeless. It might seem impossible. I mean, love of God, it seems to be like, it's a mythology, it's a phantasmagoria, it's too much. But no, these actually give us the sense of what we are trying to achieve. So, is that helpful? Thank you. She had what question did you have?
How can we feel love for Krishna?
How can you feel love for Krishna? When you feel it, you feel it. By having said that, there are some symptoms. You should serve a pure devotee of Krishna. You will feel love for Krishna.
Okay.
Thank you for that nice question.
For calling on me.
All right. What's your good name?
My name is Ida.
Ira?
Yes.
Ida. D-A? Ida. Okay, thank you. So I'll go briefly over. I did promise Bhumika Mataji, and that too in front of the deities. So the next part of the program is we will get a quick recap of Ishopanishad, the 18 verses of Ishopanishad, the flow of Ishopanishad, and so that we get a fair idea of it. And for those who really want to, get into it, I would highly recommend this book, Ishopanishad Subodhini, a small book by Gauranga Darshan Prabhu, and he's dedicated his life for doing this kind of guides that can help understand. So Aida, you have to be really quiet now. Please, can you do that? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So the flow of Sri Ishopanishad, it's mentioned here. Sri Ishopanishad takes its name from the first word of its first verse, Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam. Isha, Upanishad. So Isha and Upanishad combined becomes Ishopanishad. And that is derived from Isha Vasyam, the first Isha Vasyam Idam.
Yatkincha jagatyam jagat. Yena taktena bunjita ma grada kashya svidhanam.
Nice. The Supreme and living with. So the first three verses are mentioned about who controls this and how do I live with it. For example, the first verse, Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tene Taktena Banjita Magrida Kasyas Vidhanam, which is that everything animate is owned and controlled by Krishna. And one should take one's portion, what is allotted. That's it. Because that, quote unquote, is destiny. Think about it. If I don't know what God allotted to me, and then I just behave like a very selfish person trying to grab others' property, then you are disturbing the God's will, saying that Krishna has created for everyone. So you better take your portion and be. But what happens if you don't? In the second verse, it's mentioned that there is no other way. Kurban eveha karmani. If you really want to live in this world, then you have to follow this. I'll give you an example. If you go to a hotel, right, and for business or for travel, you have to live by the rules of the hotel, correct? You can't go there and then start painting the walls different color, or taking the furniture, throwing it out, getting my own furniture, and take out the bed, and then break down the wall for the neighbor and say, hey, I need this big space. Get out of your room. I need to. No, you will be kicked out because the total. Similarly, Krishna is the owner and proprietor of this everything. So Ishopanishad says that. And then the third, the mantra says is that if you don't follow these, then you will go to the dark regions, killer of the soul, right? Anybody remembers the killer of soul verse? Asurya namate loka andhena tamasavrata tamste pretya vigachanti eke chatma anojanaha. So those are the first three verses. The fourth and the fifth, the 4 and 5, is more of Krishna's inconceivable nature. He is far away, but yet he is near. He is inside of everything, yet he is. So Krishna's this inconceivable nature is mentioned in the verses 3 and 4 of Ishopanishad. He is, if he is present everywhere, I can't grab him, I can't grasp him, right? So this is mentioned in verses 4 and 5. And in 6 and 7, who can see that or who can understand this? An advanced devotee can understand this. So those are the first few verses of Ishopanishad. And then 9, 10, and 11 talk of Vidya and Avidya. So, for one who is in darkness, that person, for one who is in ignorance, he will go to darkness. But for the person who has half-baked knowledge of God, he will go to even more darkness. I'll give an example. Vedas say that animal killing is allowed in certain conditions. But that certain conditions you don't take into account. Vedas allow animal killing, then you indiscriminately kill animals, and in the name of Vedas, actually you go to hell. Yes or yes? Just a simple example. So this half-baked knowledge and knowledge that leads to conclusion that I am God, these are all, leading to more darkness. Right? And then, but Ishopanishad says that you have to balance Vidya and Avidya. You cannot simply say that, oh, this is Avidya, this is Vidya. No, balance it out. For example, the body is made of gross elements, and then, but that doesn't mean that I don't take care of my body, correct? Because think about, you have a car, right? Oh, I am not my car, I am different from my car, I don't care about my car. Eventually the car will break down and you can't get to your destination. Same thing. And then what is Vidya and Avidya? For 12, 13 and 14, it is worship of those who are supreme and those who are not supreme is mentioned. And then it is mentioned you should balance out the worship. And the verses 15 through 16 are prayers to Krishna, where we are desperately praying. Hiranmaya Patrena. In the 15th verse, we are saying, oh Krishna, I really want to see your form, but your dazzling effulgence, which is more brilliant than millions of sun, is just blinding my eyes. So please remove that so that I can see your beautiful form. And then the next one is that, please remember all my sacrifices. It's mentioned here, but Krishna will never forget. In fact, he's such a beautiful personality that you might have committed millions of crimes, but he will see that one spark or one tiny speck of service you did, and he'll take that into account as well. And, there is no person more merciful. So we should take as much as possible, our entire heart and do our service to Krishna, because he is the one who will never disappoint us or not reciprocate our service and our feelings or love for him. He'll never fail on that front. So the last one is, destroy all my sins. I think it's Vayur Anilam Amritam. So those are the 18. And what else? So those are the Ishopanishad in a nutshell. More questions, comments? Mata Rupali.
I have a question about knowing your own quota.
Okay, yes.
How one can know that?
Excellent. We will look up 2 verses in Bhagavatam. Krishangi Mataji, please go to 1st canto, 5th chapter. Oh, this is a nice, beautiful verse, but I think it's 8. Yeah, if you go there, the verse, I know the verse, Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido. Control F, intelligent, Mata. Control F, intelligent. Yes, 18, if you can click on that. So kindly repeat after me. Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido. न लभ्यते यद्भ्रमतामुपार्यदः तल्लभ्यते दुःखवदन्यतः सुखम् कालेन सर्वत्र गभीररमहसा. That Mata didn't get a chance. Please do the translation. You didn't get a chance to. Yes.
Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should
endeavor,
therefore, only for that purposeful end which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, down to the lowest planet, Patala, as far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned. It can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries even though we do not desire them.
So, as we keep doing our work, our quota, it will come to us. We don't ask for it, but we are anyway provided. Automatically it will come as we kind of do our work. For example, I'll tell an example. A person is staying in a small house and they want to move to a bigger house. They will put in the effort, and if it is there in the destiny, somehow or other they'll move into a bigger house. This is an example I'm giving, or a better money, or a better job. So you keep doing your work in an honest and natural way to your abilities, it will come over a period of time. And because otherwise, there is no way to know that I didn't get a letter with me, okay? This life, a little bit astrology you can do, but still, God, I don't want to get there. It's no guaranteed stuff, okay? By the age of 45, you will be the Prime Minister of India or a President, you will be this, nothing, there's no mention there. You just keep doing. In fact, the present Prime Minister of India said, I never even dreamt of becoming a Prime Minister, but here I am. And if you ask anyone who is honest and successful, they never say that I planned this to my life. It just happened. Yes, sir, yes. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Other questions, comments? Should we stop here or should we do the Chaitanya Charitamrita a little bit? It's your call. I'm perfectly okay with because Chaitanya Charitamrita is extra credits, but let's not get there. If not, then we can stop here. Exam perspective, any questions, comments? So exam date is fixed. The time will be mostly in the morning from 10 to 1. whether it be online or in the temple. We'll announce it in the Bhakti Shastri class. Temple has a nice feeling. It's actually, I remember the good old days where 50, 30, 40 devotees would come, sometimes more than that. They would take the exam, and it was exactly like going to college and, giving the exam and all the excitement after the exam. Did you get this right? Did you get that right? Did you get this wrong? So all that fun stuff would happen, but given the pandemic and the aftermath of it, and obviously those who are outside of Bay Area, you can't take it in the temple. Although you are welcome to fly if you want to. Nobody's stopping you to come to ISV. But yeah, Jagriti, yes, you raised your hand.
Yes, for the essay question, Prabhuji, is there like a minimum word limit or number of paragraphs that we should write?
Thank you. So for those who could not get the question, is for an essay, is there a minimum number of requirement? Essay questions are essay questions. If you can't write it in one sentence, for sure. Having said that, you can consume as many pages as you want, but my minimum expectation is at least a page with decent size. I mean, page with not, 5-inch essay. So decent size. And the purpose of essay would be to tell your understanding of the concept that is being asked, to give proper examples, to quote from scriptures, and even there are some personal realizations, please add. And then, so that's the thing. And try to cover as many points as you can.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And at this point, I wouldn't be like asking you, raise your own objection and answer your own. No, those are all the very advanced stuff. No, just simple. But yes, Satwat.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Following up to the Mataji's question of how can we know how much is our own quota? I vaguely remember you said that we are going to cover 2 verses, out of which one verse was the Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.18, Tasya Veheto Prayadet Kovida. Was there another verse you wanted to speak?
Man, thank you, Satwat. Yes, that is from 7th canto. Sukham Aindriyakam Daitya. 7th canto, is it 5th or 9th? 7th canto, 5th verse, 5th chapter or 9th chapter? Sukham Aindriyakam Daitya. Deha Yogena Dehinam. Sarvatra Labhyate Daivat Yata Dukkham Ayatnatah. That's the verse. Sukham Aindriyakam Daitya. Thank you. I was wrong on the chapter. It was neither 5 nor 9. Okay, I'll remember this. Thank you. So kindly repeat after me. Sukham Aindriyakam Daitya. Deha Yogena Dehinam. Sarvatra Labhyate Daivad. Yata Dukkham Ayatnataha. Is there anybody online who wants to read? If not, Arjun will read.
I can read, Prabhu.
Okay, please go for the translation.
Yes. Translation. Prahlad Maharaj continued, "My dear friends, born of demoniac families, the happiness perceived with reference to the sense objects by contact with the body can be obtained in any form of life according to one's past fruitive activities. Such happiness is automatically obtained without endeavor, just as we obtain distress."
Thank you. So as you keep doing your work, you will get it. I mean, the promotions or the raises or just the money that is supposed to come, or the wife, the husband, the children, the family, home, cars, these will just come. I mean, like, nobody said that exactly I'm going to get this, but they will come of their own accord. Just like, miseries we never want, they still will come anyways. The problem is miseries is something we think we shouldn't get, but we don't count the other aspects of it. Okay. Other questions? If not, then we'll stop here. It's okay. For those who want to read of Radhakund and Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think it's the 18th chapter, 15th chapter, 15th or 18th. One of those chapters of Madhya Leela, where Mahaprabhu, in a nutshell, where I'll give you is that Mahaprabhu went to Vrindavan and he went to a place called Aritagram, which was called Arishtagram. And he was roaming about in the forests of Vrindavan, and the Aritagram was the short form from Arishtagram, which was the bull Arishta killed by Krishna. And in the aftermath of killing, the gopis accused Krishna that you are a killer of cow. You should be actually doing serious penance. And then we know the story of how Krishna creates the Radha Kund, the Shama Kund, and Radharani creates Radha Kund. And Mahaprabhu was asking the local villagers, so where is Radha Kund, where is Shama Kund? It's completely, and when Mahaprabhu came to this world, the village of Vrindavan was completely inundated with the pastimes of Krishna. It was completely gone. It was completely covered. And Mahaprabhu went to the paddy fields, and there were just 2 small ponds in the paddy fields. And because he is the supreme absolute truth, he is Krishna himself, he came to realize that these are the 2 places. And then he took his bath there, deeply absorbed and immersed in thoughts of Krishna. And then he asked his servant Balabhadra Bhattacharya to collect some mud from Radha Kund, and he put a tilak there. And so that's how his followers later expanded and excavated the present Radha Kund. So in a nutshell, that's there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yes.
Like again, continuing on the theme of quota, it's like when you described about that translation as well, is it part of like prarabdha karma that basically the quota is prarabdha karma?
Yeah. So for those who don't know what prarabdha karma is, karmic reactions are of 4 types. One is called the desire. Just like a seed, it's like that desire to do activity is just like a seed, and then when you put it in the ground, the small sprouts are coming out, and that's called kutam. And then when you actually do the activity, but you won't get the reaction now, it's called aprarabdha, which means unmanifested karma. Then prarabdha karma means the full manifestation of karma right now. The body that I have right now is just a manifestation of my small portion of my karma. It's like infinite karma I have. It's like an unlimited ocean. For billions and billions of lives, I have taken on so many bodies and performed so many activities, and my karmic reactions are waiting. And what you see is just a small slice, like a tiny teensy slice of the manifestation of that karma. And you're so right. The prarabdha karma that's where it's mentioned that this is what you will get in this lifetime. This is the time you'll be born, this is the time you'll die, this is the male form you'll be born in certain country, you'll be at a certain education, you'll have a certain wife, the pluses and minuses and everything. Thank you. Mansi Mataji.
So Prabhuji, I've heard that once we enter into the devotional life or we surrender to Krishna, our karma changes a lot. And then we always say that, Krishna always protects us once we are there. But I always think that, bad things do happen to a lot of devotees, like cancers and things like that. So I always think that maybe, I know it is our prarabdha karma and we have to get it, but where is that protection part that Krishna promised?
So it's an excellent question you asked, because the previous talk of karma might scare people, like, oh, I have like infinite karma behind me. The what manifests is just like the manifested karma or the prarabdha karma. But what about the other aspect of karma? In fact, it's mentioned in Padma Purana, aprarabdha phalam papam kutam bijam phalonmukam krimenaiva praliyeta Vishnu bhakti ratatman. It is mentioned that every single type of sin is destroyed by becoming a pure devotee of Vishnu or Krishna. Prarabdha, kutam, everything is destroyed. And Jiva Goswami says, if you take 4 leaves or 5 leaves, right? Take lotus leaves, take 10 lotus leaves, and take a long needle and then put it through it. Is the piercing of the leaf simultaneous or not simultaneous? Thank you. Exactly. So, the prarabdha, aprarabdha, everything gets destroyed simultaneously, but it's like, it seems as if it is simultaneous, but it is going through one by one. But pure devotional service has that power to destroy the karma. So coming to the devotee's question, I often wonder, please understand that when you get cancer or other fatal or diseases that threaten your very existence, or, is it that Krishna is being callous and not protecting them? Or Krishna is burning up their karma in the form of cancer? They don't never have to come back. I don't know. But what I know is that Krishna said Sarvadharman Parityaja. I have absolute faith in those words. So how he wants to put me into that category, it's his prerogative. He will say, you surrender to me, okay, Baba. Now, surrender means you don't say, give me the conditional. Okay, I'm surrendering to you, please don't give me cancer. Please give me good health. That is not surrender. So, but then again, it's a very important point you brought up. It's helpless. No, we do our best to not commit offenses to devotees. Do the best that we can do to do our devotional service in a proper, holistic way. And leave it rest to Krishna, whether it's a prarabdha karma, aprarabdha karma, or Krishna pulling the karma from this end to give it, it's his choice. I can't even fathom actually to see that I'm billions and billions of lifetimes I have spent here. How much of karma I did, which life I did, where is the linkage coming from? It's way beyond me. So let Krishna take care of it. I'll just serve him happily. Is that okay? Shubham had a question. Jagriti.
Following up on this, my Shiksha Guru always used to say that if we have these kind of major problems in our life, we should understand 2 things. One is that it could be just a part of our prarabdha karma that we have to undergo this misery, but also to remember Kunti's prayers that take it as an opportunity to get closer to Krishna.
Wonderfully put. Thank you. Okay. If not, then we'll have a 45-minute break before the Sunday feast lecture begins. Jagriti, you still had a question? One more? Your hand, I see it raised.
No, sorry, it was from the previous time.
All right. Okay. Because no question left behind, like no child left behind campaign. And in book distribution, we use that no book left behind. So, anything else? So, one thing, those who continue, I regarding the next semester, we have 15 minutes, so I won't take this opportunity to talk about the next semester. Next semester, we'll be doing Bhagavad Gita. So for Bhakti Shastri, you can join in any semester. There is no a rule that you have to do 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can do 2, 3, 4, and 1. But 3, 4, and 1 and 2, I wouldn't recommend, because second and third semesters we'll do the first part and the second part of Gita. Jumping on the second part without doing the first part, a lot of context is lost. You're still welcome to do it. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But so the next semester, those who have not done the Bhakti Shastri, please do join next semester. I look forward to serving you. It will be really beautiful and intense discussion on Gita. When we will start next semester, August 27th is the exam. And then after that, we can start in a few weeks' time. And then we can take a break in December or November time frame. Or, we can decide that. Any questions for the next semester? Okay. If nothing else, anything you have to add? Achyuta Chaitanya Prabhu. Okay. Thank you, Bhumika Mataji. Any things on memory versus memorization or any questions on that? Because I said I did mention that I'll talk a little bit about that. Any questions? If there are no questions, then okay. Then if not, I wish you all the best for your exam. You will have to work hard to pass the exam. You have to work harder to fail the exam. So please keep, the whole purpose of exam is to not test your Sanskrit or not test your, just read Prabhupada's books, and then the whole idea is in Bhakti Shastri, every one of us will become preachers. And then you should be able to quote Prabhupada's books. You should be able to tell in your own words with conviction of what you are able to present the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. And that's what is being tested in Bhakti Shastri exam. Of course, the only part that is actually tested with memory is the shlokas. So please do that. If you can't memorize it, at least write the English. Yeah, and is the third homework still to be sent out, or third homework, or we can get third. So maybe the third homework will be sent sooner than later, or next couple of days, and then please send it back. Anything else? If nothing else, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha.